So it seems like we've spoke about quite a lot of restaurant/cafe drama recently, and today we have a brand new topic to talk about. There's two main people you need to be aware of here, or like one person you need to be aware of and then one business you need to be aware of, you know, the cafe. The person you need to be aware of is this user right here called Beauty Hut, and the cafe you need to be aware of is the Hazelnut Cafe in New Jersey. So yesterday, as I'm recording this video, Beauty Hut uploaded a video talking about her experience at the Hazelnut Cafe. And this video's went crazy viral, right? It's on about 4 million views. Like I said, it was just uploaded yesterday, and it has sparked a lot of different reactions. So let's start from the beginning, and as we go through, I'll let you know my opinions, but then also let me know your opinions in the comment section down below, because like I said, there's a lot of different opinions here.
Hey guys, I'm looking for some advice and hopefully you can help me figure out how to deal with this situation. I took my 3-year-old daughter and 76-year-old mom for coffee and ice cream, and we're at the beach, so we went to this local place in Levelette called Hazel Boutique, and I had my mom and daughter sit at a table to wait for me while I was getting the coffee, just because the place was so packed.
Okay, so it starts off pretty normal, right? They went to this cafe. As you just heard, she says that she wants some advice from people as to what to do in this situation. And this is what exactly happened. So Beauty goes on to explain that as she was going to get drinks, her daughter accidentally knocked down a table. Now, it turns out this wasn't just any table. It was, first of all, a pretty expensive table. Also, not really a table, but we'll get to that. But also, as we hear, it is a table that apparently weighs 600 pounds.
I'm at the register paying for a coffee, and I hear a loud bang, and I look, and my daughter, who was trying to push the table away from her, pushed it over, and the table, which I later learned was 600 pounds, broke into a bunch of pieces. It was a stone table.
Okay, right, so we do see a picture of here. We can actually see like one of the sides has obviously been broken here. You can kind of see the pieces on the table. And like I mentioned earlier, it's actually not really a table. Well, apparently it's not a table. We'll get to that. But straight away, I have a lot of questions, right? My first one being, how does a 3-year-old, I believe we hear in this video, how does a 3-year-old knock over a 600-pound table unless it's already like not exactly stable? Which also does come up later, but you would imagine that if you have a table that is very hard material and weighs a lot, you should make sure that that table is stable, right? Especially with like kids like showing up to your cafe. Because I mean, if that lands on someone, especially a 3-year-old, bear in mind, that could be a fucking awful situation. So even before we hear more of the story, this to me seems like a bit of a health and safety concern, especially when we find out more details a little bit later. So Beauty Hut goes on to explain that her initial reaction is to make sure F1's okay, right? Because this heavy tables just fell over and broke and made this loud bang. Very understandable reaction, and then goes over to speak to the staff.
So, I'm freaking out. I first I want to get to her and make sure everything's okay. So I like push through the crowd. I check on her, see if she's all right, if she got hurt, if anybody else got hurt. I was so grateful there was nobody else on the other end of that table, because, you know, their leg could have been amputated. It was so heavy. It was just like a big piece of granite, I think. And, you know, my mom's so nervous and she's embarrassed, and I talked to the people there, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. You know, what could I do to make this right?" And my daughter's just kind of, she's not crying, she's not reaching for me, she's not calling mommy, she's just kind of frozen and scared and nervous, you know. And everybody's reaction definitely didn't help.
And now we get to the conversation with the staff. So Beauty Hut goes on to explain that one of the baristas was actually very nice, very helpful, making sure she was okay. Everybody else, though, seemed to give off like mean girl vibes, and we're going to see some of the reviews that have been left on Google way before this situation happened. It does feel like that is maybe a reoccurring opinion. But also, this is where Beauty Hut is told that the table is very expensive, about $1,600, and she is not able to leave until she provides her driver's license and credit card.
Everybody else kind of had like mean girl vibes, and I understand they were upset, you know. I completely get it. And I was ready to pay for the damages, and that wasn't the issue. When the owner got on the phone, I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, we're so embarrassed." My daughter even kept saying, I'm so sorry. But she didn't say much more than that, and she's very chatty usually, you know. So anyway, the owner said, Well, the table is almost $2,000. It's $1,600. So you can't leave until I have your license and a credit card.
Now, at this point in the video, Beauty Hut goes on to explain that she said, like, she just wanted to make sure that everyone was okay. You know, her child was, like, very scared after this situation. She just wanted to make sure she was okay. She'll give her contact information. She'll get it sorted. But she was actually unable to leave.
But I wasn't allowed to leave. And I don't know how that works. But I wasn't allowed to leave. I couldn't leave until I provided her a picture of my license or a picture of my husband's driver's license or my credit card for the $1,600 table. And I said, I have to call you back and we can, figure it out. But I do have to take care of my kid. Anyway, it was like a big scene, absolute, and all she kept repeating was, our policy is you break it, you pay for it. You break it, you bought it. And I was so surprised because not one time on the phone did she ask if Allie was okay or if anybody else got hurt. She didn't once say, hey, is your daughter all right? Is she shaken up?
And then Beauty Hut ends the video by explaining some of the stuff they were saying. They kept saying over and over again that they've got it all on video and, they have all the proof. To which Beauty Hut said, like, throughout this video, like, that's fine. She will get it sorted, right? Like, we are going to sort the situation. Just want to make sure her kid was okay.
All the owner kept repeating was, we have everything on video. I stuck around for 20 minutes to give you my contact information so that you can contact me so that I can make it right by you guys and your business. So for you to keep repeating that everything's on video, I'm not disputing the fact that my kid pushed your table. That's what happened.
Now, looking at the comments in this video, people definitely don't seem to be on the side of the Hazelnut Cafe. There's a lot of comments like this one saying, Hazel Boutique is notorious for being stuck up and infatuated with rude girl vibes. Anything that heavy should be nailed down and that is their fault, not yours. I'd contact an attorney ASAP. The coffee shop used this table contrary to the manufacturer's design and this was a foreseeable accident. Hazel Boutique created a hazardous condition and in doing so breached their duty of care to their customers. Children under age of 7 are legally incapable of negligence, but the shop owners are. Long story short, this was their fault and you owe them nothing. And another comment here saying, it's a console table not meant for dining. Please go to the cops and don't pay. So this is what I want to get into, right? Because a lot of the times, like, if you break something, like in a store, restaurant, whatever it is, you usually have to pay, right? But the problem with this situation, the more and more you look into it, it seems very obvious that something like this was eventually going to happen. Like, for example, people started looking at the Hazelnut Cafe's videos, like their old videos where they show these tables, and there are multiple videos showing the fact that the tables do wobble. Also, side note, I do find this funny, there is actually now an account on TikTok called Hazel Boutique Table. This is an account specifically dedicated to showing the table situation. So yeah, if we have a look at this video, we can see people sitting around the table, and yeah, you can see the table wobbling. And bearing in mind, this is a heavy, hard material table, right? This could hurt someone very easily, and the fact that it's clearly not secured to the ground seems to be a big problem. And I guess a big reason why this very expensive table for some reason isn't fit for purpose in a situation like this is because that's not the reason it was made. I mean, if we look at this video here from a user called Sip Tea with Brittany, she actually shows a screenshot off the table where you can buy it, and it turns out it's not a dining table at all. I mean, as we can see here, it's actually like a console table that you would have at like the entrance of your home, that you'd put like your keys or something on. It's not made to sit at and have like your drinks or food on it. And it's especially not made to have at a public cafe that I've now since learned, since hearing about the situation, gets very busy. It's a popular cafe, right? In Beauty Hut's video, she said it was very busy in there, right? So she had like pushed through the crowd to get to her daughter and see what happened. And if you remember in Beauty Hut's video, she does actually say the reason why like her daughter pushed it, I guess, is because the table was like leaning towards her, so she kind of pushed it back. I mean, yeah, I can see how that could possibly happen, right? We saw that the table does in fact wobble, so if a kid is seeing that a table is like wobbling towards them, they might like push it away from them, and you would expect a £600 table to not tip over if a 3-year-old pushes it. Like I said before, it just seems like a big health and safety concern, and almost feels like very obvious that something like this was going to happen eventually. Now, I also did come across a video from a user called Seaside Sea Witch, or Haley, who actually talks about how she used to work in the same building when it was a different business, I guess, but then also goes on to mention that the staff in Hazelnut Cafe don't exactly have the best reputation.
I get the burnout of working in a shore town, but all the reviews, not all of them, a lot of the reviews are about the staff being rude. Like, yeah, I get the burnout, but like, if all your reviews are you're rude, like, stop.
So when I saw this video, I of course decided to go and look at the reviews, and I mean, yeah, there's a lot of negative ones. Now, of course, I'm only going to read reviews that were posted before Beauty Hut posted the video, before the situation went viral. But I mean, as we can see here, there's 400 reviews, 1.3 star rating, obviously not very good. I'm not sure what the overall rating was before this situation, but I mean, we can see that before this situation did go viral, there were a lot of negative reviews. Let's have a read through. Staff was rude and judgy, and the drinks were disappointing. The employees laughed in my friend's face when handing her a mid-drink. We were so excited to go, and it was the worst, most disappointing experience. First, the coffee was so bitter and just tastes like milk. The service was absolutely one of the worst services I've ever gotten for coffee. A person stole our drinks, making us wait an extra 20 minutes for one drink. Girls working were rude. The girls that are in this store are rude and unhelpful. There is nothing special about their overpriced clothes. We will never come back here. Is the staff always in a bad mood? Went in and no one smiled the whole time. Tried to be nice to the staff and was returned with nasty looks. After looking around the store for about 5 seconds, it was time to leave. Lol, besides the coffee, nothing about this place is good. Now, I'm not going to read through them all because there are a lot that are saying very similar things about staff apparently being rude. But yeah, bearing in mind that a lot of these reviews were way before this situation even went viral, it's not exactly the best look. And like I mentioned before, usually in a case like this, if you break something in like a business, like a cafe, restaurant, whatever it is, you would pay for it, right? In this situation, I would love to know your opinions on what you think should happen here, because like I said, I do really believe that that is a health and safety concern, and you shouldn't have something that, first of all, isn't even meant to be a table that you drink coffee on or have food or whatever it is. And also, it's a table that is very heavy and very unstable and got pushed over by a 3-year-old. It's not exactly the best look, is it? And like I said, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below on what you think should happen next. But yeah, either way, I'm going to leave the video there. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new. Also, if you're interested in some other content, me and Emily have a channel where we play games, react to reality shows, do vlogs, stuff like that. If you're interested in any of that, that's always linked in the description down below. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.